Ekabo, which means welcome in Yoruba. I am Komolafe Olusegun, CTO of Pakt, and I'm joining you today from our Accra house in Nairobi, Kenya. At Pakt, we make it easy for you to create chain sites. These are websites with blockchain's trusted value layer baked in. What do chain sites look like? Imagine an Uber co-owned by all the drivers, or a dating site with reputation scores, or even a decentralized Spotify, which fairly rewards creatives based on smart contracted agreements. On Pakt, in only 10 minutes, you can launch a chain site for yourself, which includes a private server to run your chain site, Pakt operating system, which grants you access to over 100 APIs the Pakt squad has built. And you also have the ability to install template UI or mod functionality built by the community from the Pakt Marketplace. And finally, the Pakt Command Center makes monitoring, managing, and optimizing your chain sites as easy as playing fantasy football. If you already have a website, you can plug and play APIs built by Pakt or the Pakt community to convert your Web 2.0 site into a blockchain-powered Web3 chain site. So why is Pakt called Pakt? First, a little tech background, since this is a builder's demo. Most of you are familiar with collections, like on Firebase or MongoDB. If you're not, a collection refers to a dictionary of information that can be adjusted to meet the needs of an application's business logic. So what happens when you take a collection and hash all of some of its most important data to the blockchain? You improve the trust between users and between humans and Web3's new internet. The type of trusted connection you can build a future on. The type of blockchain-powered trusted connection we call a pact. For today's demo, I will show you what happens on the back end of a Pakt-powered freelancer platform when two parties, let's call them Alice and Bob, enter into a contract. To do so, I will be using the sandbox so we can use Pakt APIs and SDKs. To get started, we need to log into the Pakt Command Center. You can access it from sandbox.pakt.world. And when you log in, you will see Sandbox 1 under my chain site. Click on Dashboard. Once you're there, you then go to the APIs tab to access your API keys. Note that these keys are for use with the developer sandbox to familiarize yourself with the Pakt operating system. Soon, you'll be able to spin up your own private chain site on its own server with its own keys. To view this process, please view our earlier podcast with Circle using the link below. Now it's time for me to clone the boilerplate for interacting with the Sandbox API on GitHub. Once I have the boilerplate on my computer, I will then update the .env file with the Sandbox API public and secret keys. Please never commit your keys to a public repository. If you feel your keys have been compromised, you can quickly generate a new one on the Pakt Command Center. Now we have set up our boilerplate successfully connect to our Pakt APIs. For this demo, we will utilize the following 5 APIs: the collection, the non-custodial escrow wallet, the invite, payment, and the wallet APIs. You can access the full API and SDK documentation at docs.pakt.world. I have customized my APIs to fit the goal of today's demo. You can set your APIs to whatever naming convention you are most comfortable with for your particular build. For this next demo stage, we will simulate the creation of a job on a Pakt-powered freelancer marketplace between Alice, a client, and Bob, a talent. We will show you what happens on the back end when two users are entering into a job on the front end. The first thing I need to do is to run my APIs. And then I would authenticate as Alice. In order to create a collection, I need to authenticate as Alice. I will then use the collection slash create endpoints with a preset list of parameter objects to create a job collection, as if it's Alice that is creating a job on the front end. Note that these parameter objects are preset, but we will allow you to make your own shortly to provide complete customizability of collections. So imagine that Alice is creating a job on a freelancer marketplace. On that marketplace, she will use Pakt's global smart contract tool to add a name and to set a category description and other information. Let's see how that looks like. And here it is. You can see it allows me to fill up the necessary details that a job will need. But because we have to demonstrate how powerful Pakt APIs are being utilized, I'm just going to do this from the backend. So now I've preset my job collection with parameter objects. I'll proceed to create one. So, so you can see I have to authenticate because of security. It is necessary. You can only authenticate per device. Now that I've created my collection, I will go ahead to invite Bob to this job. So the first thing I want to do is to search for Bob's account. So I could use the account slash user endpoint to gather a list of every single user on the platform and use the search queries to tailor down my search in order to find Bob's account. Because of time, I just have Bob listed as my main talent. So I look into Bob's profile and I'm impressed with everything. Then I'll go ahead to invite Bob to the job. You could do this from the front end, and it's very easy to do it from the back end. All you need to do is to get the collection ID that you've created for Bob and add his recipient ID. Now that I've done that, when Alice was creating this collection, she added the payment fee parameter object. This parameter object allows for the creation of a non-custodial escrow wallet. So it means that in order for that collection to fulfill fulfill what it's necessary and obligated to perform, this is needed that she has to fund that wallet with the money that she has set that she wants to use in paying for that job from Bob. So what she's going to do is to copy the collection ID. I'm going to copy the collection ID. I'll use this to fetch the escrow wallet address. You can see the address is returned and all the necessary information about that job in terms of payment is also returned. I'll then proceed to make a deposit to that wallet. So I'll be using my MetaMask and I'll be making a manual deposit. So you can see the wallet is expecting a total of $2,687.50. So I'm going to send 2,687. Now I've made this deposit. I will then have to validate this payment in order to ensure that the money has been paid in order to invite Bob. So you can see the payment was received. And I also get an email to also validate this claim. So you can see the money has been confirmed. And now Alice can then move ahead to invite Bob. Now on Bob's profile, you could see that Alice has invited him to the job. He sees everything about the job and he says, okay, I'm very interested in this job, and proceeds to accept the invite. Now he has accepted the invite. Bob will then move ahead to complete the necessary requirements that that job or collection requires. So I'm going to fast forward it to the time when Bob has completed his job. So Bob is going to complete it from his end and wait for Alice's response to validate that that job has been completed. So Alice can see that the job has been completed by Bob, finalizes and reviews. This then triggers the release of the funds in a non-custodial escrow wallet. It is important to note that there are only three conditions that determine the release of funds from a non-custodial escrow wallet. First is the creator of the collection, aka Alice, releasing the funds. The second is either the creator or the recipient canceling the collection. The other party is provided with options to determine what amount of the collection they want to keep, with the remainder being refunded to the creator. And third is an issue resolution, such as in the instance of a client and talent freelancer dispute. Once the issue resolution process is resolved, it triggers the release of funds to the winner of the verdict. Let's say this is a normal perfect job. Bob completes his responsibilities and lets Alice know by marking the job as complete from his dashboard on the Fair Open Access Market. Then Alice receives the information and she has released the funds to Bob. Now, Bob can then check his wallet on the fair open access market to withdraw the funds he's earned from working with Alice. So I'll log in as Bob now. I'll then proceed. Now we can check Bob's wallet on the fair open access market and withdraw the funds he has earned from Alice. Bob can now decide to withdraw the funds into his favorite wallet whenever he would like to. So just going to select the assets, copy the address I want, set the amount. It is necessary to note that you have to input your password before you can withdraw funds on the fair open access markets. There are other availabilities of activating your 2FA to put an extra protection on your funds. Bob can now decide to withdraw the funds in his favorite wallet whenever he would like to. I'll then log into the Chainsite dashboard where Alice and Bob executed their contracts. This will allow me to see the summarized view of how they engaged with the collection. Here you see the tabs for the Pakt Vault and the Collections Vault. Remember, Pacts are simply collections that interact with the blockchain. That's why the job executed by Alice and Bob is on the Pakt Vault here, since funds were deposited and withdrawn from the on-chain non-custodial escrow wallets. We can all see the collection details from their collaboration. And the best part, if I ever need to verify the transaction, it is now hashed on the blockchain forever. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about Pakt's use of collection and how they become Pakts once they interact with the blockchain. Now, hopefully, you can begin to imagine the world of chain sites, blockchain supercharged websites that you can build at top of Pakt. Please feel free to visit our website at pakt.world or our Twitter at paktworld or send us an email at hello@pakt.world. Thank you.